Good morning, team. Can you guys hear me? People who are in online. If yes, please type Y on. Can you guys hear me? If you can hear me, right, please type Y on your chat windows. Okay. Let us just wait for 2 minutes and we'll start. Let others also join so that we can resume our session. Yeah, Narsimha, if you have any questions, you can type on your chat window. Yeah, we have still not started it. So anyway, we'll start. So myself, I am Suman. So I have around 18 years of experience as an architect. So we are currently driving a Playwright workshop, and this workshop is majorly intended to understand that why we need to use a Playwright and why nowadays, right, Playwright is becoming more popular when compared with other tools. So I'll try my best to present you the benefits and as well as a basic flow, and we'll also see that what we can achieve using the Playwright automation tool. Okay, so now if you see here, right, the first step, what you need to understand here is, okay, the first step is like first you need to understand a little bit basics, okay, on the testing part. Okay, first you need to understand a little bit basics on testing. So first, right, see, normally, right, we say a software application. Okay, we say a software application, right? See why we are driving this basic is there may be few who are completely new to this particular workshop. There may be few who are actually into testing and they want to upgrade themselves towards automation using Playwright. And there may be some real employees who actually planning to understand that why Playwright is becoming popular in the market with respect to its features. So first, right, means by targeting means to target everyone, right, means to make them understand, right. So first we need little bit basics, like what we say a software application, right. If I say software application, right, if I need to develop it, okay, if we need to develop it, we actually need to follow a process. We actually need to follow a process. Normally, right, that process is nothing but what we actually call it as SDLC, which is nothing but a software development life cycle. In this cycle, right, we have multiple stages. We have multiple stages. So in that, right, one of the stage is nothing but what we actually call it as testing. What we actually call it as testing. See, I think so. You can't unmute. I do don't have any option to unmute your mic. If there is any questions or anything, right, I'll give you a Q&A time. You can ask, or else if you have anything, right, you can type it on your chat window, so that you can raise your hand and you can type it on your chat window, so that I can help you if you need any additional information on it. Okay. So if you see here, right, see normally, right, means you need to understand this flow. Like, let me just, instead of this, right, it would be really better if you use a notepad for it. Okay. If you use a WordPad for it. So if you see, right, today, right, we are going to drive Playwright, okay, workshop. So if we want to understand this workshop, right, first you need to understand a little bit of basics. Okay, a little bit of basics. So first, we all know, right, a software application. And so we all know what is a software, but where what we call in some right we call them as the products. In some right we call them as the projects. So it's very simple. If a company is owning it, right, we call it as a product, and if you are providing service, right, then we call it as a project. But any of these, right, we normally call it as a software application. So if I need to develop an application, right, I need to follow a process. That process is nothing but what we actually call it as SDLC, software development life cycle. In this, right, we have multiple stages, or what we actually call it as phases. So in these phases, right, one of the stage is nothing but testing, what we actually call it as a software testing. Software testing, what we are actually calling it as a software testing. So now if I say software testing, means if I say software testing, means I need to test that particular software. Okay. I need to test that particular software. What do you mean by testing that particular software? Means I need to verify and validate. Verify and validate. I need to perform verification and validation. You can simply say I need to perform verification and validation. If I need to make it simple, right, it's like you have some expected where you are checking whether you're actually achieving it on your application or not. Yeah, so this is what, if I need to make it simple, right, as a testing, right. So normally, right, whenever I say if I need to test some software application, we actually perform verification and validation. So you may get one doubt that why we actually perform this verification and validation, to achieve correctness and completeness. To achieve correctness and completeness of for that particular application. So anyway, means I think so. Means so if you are attending this Playwright workshop, right, you would have already know what is software testing. But just to quickly give you a heads up, right? I had just given you, we actually perform verification and validation of functionalities. Okay, where we check for correctness and completeness. It is nothing but where we compare your expected values with your actual. Now, if you see this particular software testing, right, means how do you say a particular application got tested? It means we actually test, means what, we have two types, right? Where we actually means we need to perform our testing as a functional testing, and as well as the non-functional testing, and as well as the non-functional testing. Now, if you see the functional testing, right? If I say that I have functionally tested an application, which is nothing but a software. So it means I should test it from UI, I should test it from API, and I should also make sure that I'm testing it from DB. Then only I can say that I have functionally tested. And if I'm going to perform functional testing from UI, API, and as well as DB, right? DB. Now this can be, means if I need to perform this testing, right? This can be done in two ways. One way is you can manually test it, and the second way is you can automate it. And second way is you can automate it. So whenever I need to perform testing through automation, right? Through automation, right? Here we actually use some tools. Okay. See, normally we say tools, but at the ground level, right? These are nothing but the libraries. These are nothing but the libraries that what we use to perform that particular testing. So now, right, if you see, right, for UI, for example, if I need to perform UI automation testing, or if I need to perform API automation testing, or if I need to validate something by retrieving from DD and I want to perform DB automation testing. So if I need to perform these testings, right? So we actually use some tools through which you can perform automation testing. So here, right, if you see here, right, if you see here, right, normally, if you see, right, for UI automation testing, we actually use Selenium, or we actually use Cypress, or you actually use Playwright. You actually use Playwright. In the same way, if you see here, right, if I need to do API automation testing, here we actually use, if I'm using it with Java, right, that we actually use REST assured library. And if I need to perform with Python, right, I actually use request library. And if I need to do it with Cypress, right, we actually use Cypress. And if I need to do that with Playwright, right, then I actually do Playwright. In the same way, if I need to do the same with DB, right, and again here as well, right, if I need to use DB, right, here also we will use that database drivers, okay, that DB drivers, okay, where we actually use to test it with Java or Python, and as well as Cypress, and as well as Playwright. So now if you see here, right, now if I need to make simple, right, the most popular tools which are used, okay, which are used as part of your automation testing, okay, which are used as part of your automation testing in the market are nothing but these three. Okay, we which are nothing but these three tools. The first one is Selenium, and second one is nothing but the Cypress. Okay, and the third one is nothing but the Playwright. Third one is nothing but the Playwright. So first we need to understand. Means first I'm just trying to make you to understand why Playwright is capturing your market. Even though we have a lot of tools like Selenium, Cypress, Protractor, we have a lot, but if I consider the top three, right, that right, you will see Selenium, Cypress, and as well as Playwright. You will see Selenium, Cypress, and as well as Playwright. So now let us first pick one, like UI automation. Now let us say I want to test my application from UI, where I need to use these three tools like Selenium, Cypress, and as well as Playwright. See, it is like if I need to make it simple, right, to understand, right? So Selenium is like an old reliable car. It's like an old reliable car. Okay, it's like if I need to make it right, see, this got released in the year of 2004. Okay, and it is very popular tool, and where it actually supports automation using Java, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, okay, and as well as the C#. It supports multiple languages, okay, and it also has support for multiple browsers like Chrome, Firefox, Safari. It also have support for multiple browsers. So I'm just putting it as etc. And if you see, right, there are a lot of companies where you see, right, they already people, right, many people use Selenium in your real practice. Okay. Okay. Now the second criteria is nothing but Cypress, right? It is like if I need to make it, if I need to tell you on Cypress, right, it is like I can simply say this is a fast moving car. Okay, and with limited sports car features. With limited sports car features means if I need to make it simple, right, for your understanding. Selenium is like an old reliable car where we see a lot of applications which are already automated using Selenium. And Cypress is like it is faster than Selenium, and it is like a limited sport car features means it has limited features when you compare with the advanced features. Okay, and if you see Playwright, right, it is like an I can simply say it is like an it is also fast. Okay, it is also fast, and it's like an sports car where it supports multiple features, which gives us a future proof, what you know and reliability or versatile. Okay. So anyway, you will understand if you see the differences, right? Then you will understand why I'm saying. Means you can simply say it is all reliable, or else you can simply say this as a moderate, and you can simply say Playwright has nothing but advanced, So if I need to automate UI, right? Let us consider. See, we have Selenium, where you can code Selenium using multiple languages like Java, Python. Okay, it supports multiple languages, right? So I'm just giving it as an etc. And if you use Cypress, and as well as if you see Playwright, right, they support coding using JavaScript. Okay, they support coding using JavaScript, even though Selenium also supports using JavaScript. But if you see, right, this is little bit slow when compared with your Cypress and as well as Playwright, and this is faster when compared with your Selenium, where it supports your coding in JavaScript or TypeScript. Means the TypeScript is again a wrapper on written on your JavaScript. Okay, so now if you see if you want to understand, right, means if I need to make it simple, right, if you want to understand, okay, the use means if I need to make it simple, right, by simply comparing it, right, you need to understand this. If you see, right, at a futures wise in the market, right, we have these popular tools like Selenium, Cypress, and as well as Playwright. But if you see, right, if I need to use Selenium, it means with respect to the setup, if I need to do setup for Selenium, right, it is little bit hard when you compare with Cypress and as well as Playwright. And if you see speed, right, Selenium is slower when compared with the Cypress and Playwright. And if you see browser support, right, Selenium supports all major browsers. And if you see Cypress, right, it is only supported with Chrome and as well as Chromium. But if you see Playwright, right, it supports all the backend engines like Chromium, Firefox, and as well as Safari. Chromium, Firefox, and as well as Safari. Okay, and if you see here, right, the language support. If you see Selenium, right, it supports Java, Python, C#, Ruby, and Cypress supports only JavaScript. And the Playwright supports JavaScript, Python, Java, and as well as .NET. It means C#. Like a modern web, right? If you see here, right, see normally if I need to locate and if I need to perform action, right, Selenium uses a DOM, and where Cypress uses SPAs, and where Playwright uses both SPAs and as well as DOM, both SPAs and as well as DOM. I'll tell you what exactly the difference is. And if you see debugging, right, it is very hard to debug in Selenium, and it is moderate in Cypress, and it is Playwright, right? It has excellent tools for debugging. It has excellent tools for debugging. Now, if I need to make it simple, right? If I need to make it simple, right? See why Playwright is becoming a popular. Why Playwright is becoming popular? If you compare with other tools, right? The first advantage is it is easy to set up, and the second one is nothing but its execution is very faster when you compare with other tools, and it has what inbuilt feature where it is not required to download browsers separately to run your script. Okay, browsers, right? You will get when you're installing this Playwright. Browsers you will get inbuiltly when you're trying to install this particular Playwright. When you're trying to install this particular Playwright. And you may get one doubt. Say we are saying that fast execution, right? Why it is faster means because it uses WebSocket. Okay. And if you see Selenium, right, it uses it uses HTTP protocol, through which it actually communicates with your browser. So when you compare with your Selenium, right, your Playwright is very faster. And if you want to understand that little bit, right, you need to see the architectural. You need to see the architectural implementation of this Playwright, and as well as Selenium. So let me just show you the architectural implementation, so you will understand a little bit. So it is like means see normally, right, whenever it communicates, right, it communicates with JSON wire protocol and HTTP protocol in your Selenium. Okay, and if it is a Playwright, right, it uses WebSocket. So you may get one doubt, that what happens if the protocol changes, right? Then why it would be faster? So if I need to make it simple for your understanding, right? See, whenever if you use Selenium, right? See here, I had written it as a test script. You can use any language. It can be Java, Python, or Ruby, or any supportive language where you are actually writing your script. So when I want to execute this script on my browser to automate a functionality, right? First, this script will be communicating with the respective browser driver. Okay, respective browser driver. Means whatever the language that you're using it, right? If I need to automate any functionality, or if I want to test any functionality using Selenium, first step is I need to have a language. Means I need to know some technology, like it can be Java, Python, Ruby, JavaScript, or Ruby, C Sharp, any one language. So we need we need Selenium library. Here I am writing it as a WebDriver. So this WebDriver, if I need to execute it on a browser, okay. So we need intermediately a browser driver which actually communicates with that particular browser. So whenever you had written some code using Selenium, right, first that code will be converted into JSON format, and that will be sent to your browser driver using JSON wire protocol. And then your browser will apply on your browser driver will apply on your browser through HTTP protocol. Means every command that what you give here, right, it will be converted into JSON format, and that JSON format data will be applied onto your browser using HTTP protocol. So if you see here, right, whenever I had written script, right, that script, if it needs to interact with your browser, we also have an intermediate server. We are using a browser driver which actually performs CDP protocol. Okay, on your CDP protocol, using your CDP protocol. So Even though if you see, right, we don't have any intermediate server which actually communicates with our browser in the perspective of Playwright. So Playwright will be faster when you compare with your tool called Selenium. Okay, tool Selenium. So now the second criteria means what in anyway what these details, right, will actually drive that, what are those protocols, like what is WebSocket protocol and what is this HTTP protocol or JSON wide protocols which are used in Selenium, right? That is like a detailed. You need to get into a little bit of details to understand. But as of now, right, you need to just remember Playwright uses WebSocket protocol, and Selenium uses JSON and HTTP wide protocol to communicate with the browsers. Since Playwright uses WebSocket, right, it is faster when you compare it with other tools. It fastly executes that script on your browser when you compare with other tools in the market. When you compare with other tools in the market. Now the next step. Now you understood, right? It means like, see, if I need to make it, little bit simpler, right? If I need to make it a little bit simpler, right? If I need to compare with Selenium, okay, Selenium, right? If I need to compare that with your Selenium, right? I had also created the basic difference checklist. What means if you already have some knowledge in using some other tool, right? You will understand these differences. Okay, if you don't have any prior experience with any other automation tool, right? Then it would be a little bit challenging to understand these differences. So if you see here, right, if I compare with Selenium and as well as Playwright, protocol wise, right, here we use HTTP based protocol. Here we use CDP, which is nothing but a Chrome, Chrome developer tools protocol it is. Okay, and if you see, right, browsers, it supports all browsers in the market, and here, right, it majorly supports Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. And if you see with respect to execution speed, right, Selenium is a little bit slower. But if you see Playwright, right, it is the faster. And because as it directly interacts with your browser. And if you see locators, right, whenever I want to locate any specific element, see, it's just a basic understanding. If I need to, let us assume that this is an application where I have some links on this particular application. If I need to click on any specific link by writing some automation script, first step is I need to locate that particular element. Means I need to tell my script that what is the address of that particular element on which I need to perform action. So if I need to tell that address, right, that address is nothing but what we are actually calling it as locator, which is nothing but what we are actually calling it as locator. So whenever I want to locate an element on application using Selenium, right, I need to also write some synchronization commands to make sure that my element is getting displayed on my application UI. So I need to write some commands through which I need to maintain sync between my script and as well as my application. But if I'm using Playwright, right, it internally has inbuilt mechanism which will automatically wait till that particular elements are available on your application. Means here we have automatic waits, and here, right, if I need to implement those that synchronization or wait, right, I need to write some piece of code to maintain that wait. And parallel execution, right? If I need to perform parallel execution in Selenium, right, I need to use some third-party tools like Selenium Grid, Selenoid, or else Selenium. We have some third-party libraries, or else you need to use Docker, through which you can perform your execution in parallel. But in Playwright, right, we have built-in parallelism mechanism. It is not required to add any additional tools into Playwright to achieve parallel execution. And here, right, in Playwright, right, we call them as workers. If I need to perform parallel execution, right, here we call them as workers. But here we don't have inbuilt feature in Selenium. We need to use some third-party tools to support parallel execution. And here, right, the test cases that what we write, right, it is little bit complex when you compare with Playwright, because here, right, for example, if I am writing, if I need to perform some action, right, let us say here, if I have written 3 lines of code to perform action on it. Here it will be very minimal. You need to write 1 or 2 lines of code through which you can perform action onto that particular element. Means with respect to the lines of code that you write, right, that is minimal in Playwright when you are comparing that with your Selenium. When you compare that with your Selenium. And next one is modern web support. It's like a see means what you know. If you see right, there are few browsers who actually uses JavaScript, SPAs, Chromium engines, what you know, Flint. There are some backend engines which will be used by your browsers, and that support is available in Playwright, and it is very limited in Selenium. It does not support all the advanced engines which are available to run your browsers. To run your browsers. And if you see here, right, means whenever you are going to handle multiple sections, that is very complex in handling in Selenium. But in Playwright, right, it is very easy to handle that. And what you know, visual regression is not supportive in Selenium, and it is supportive in Playwright. Anyway, this is like if there are anyone who has an experience and who is already using certain sort of tools, right, in the market to automate their applications, right, they will understand these differences. But if you are a layman, okay, right, then I let me just make it simple. So if you see here, right, Selenium, right, or whatever, if you see here, right, Cypress, or if you see here, right, Playwright, what you know, if you see here, right, let us compare because Selenium and as well as Playwright. Okay. So if you see Selenium, right, using Selenium, right, I can perform UI automation, I can perform API automation, and I can also perform DB automation testing. But if I need to perform these testings, right, I need to use some third-party libraries. For example, if I need to do UI, right, I will actually use Selenium. If I need to do API, right, we actually use REST Assured. If I need to use DB, right, we are actually using some database drivers, what you know, to get connected to that particular databases and perform testing on it. But if you are using Playwright, right, it supports UI, API, and as well as DB. Okay, and another main advantage here is here also we may need, for example, here, right, I actually use Playwright, and here, right, I actually use for performing API testing, right, we actually use what you know, Axios, and for performing DB, right, or else you can simply say the API what you know, library, API Node.js library, through which you can also perform your API testing. And for DB, right, I may use DB Node.js libraries through which I can what you know, connect it to DB and I can perform DB testing. But if you see some features like what you know, parallel, like what you know, the execution, right, what you know, the execution means if I need to compare a few what you know, features like a parallel execution and what you know, speed or modern web browser support. If you compare those features, right, those features are only supportive in Playwright. If I need to make it simple, right, fast, Playwright is faster when you compare with your Selenium. And if you see, right, browser support as well, it support all the latest browser engines through which you can run your automation scripts. And it also has multi-language. You can also code that using multiple languages as similar as your Selenium. And as well as the debugging part, right? The debugging is very easier in Playwright when you compare with your Selenium. And what you know, normally, whenever I'm executing it, right, if there are any issues, if I need to generate logs, I need to use some third-party libraries in Selenium. But in Playwright, right, we already have inbuilt log mechanism, what we actually call it as traces, through which you can see why those scripts got failed, and you can easily do your failure analysis. You can easily do it. It helps us to speed up your failure analysis. So if I need to compare with the features, right, what you know, nowadays, right, Playwright is supporting all the advanced features which are actually required for automating your application. So that is the reason, right, if you see, right, we say Playwright as an end-to-end what you know, testing framework, end-to-end testing framework. So normally, right, as a setting, right, if I need to test any sort of application, I need to test a UI, I need to test a API, and I need to test a DB. And whenever I'm going to test a UI, right, again, under to UI, right, I need to test for visual, I need to perform visual testing, I need to perform functional testing, and I need to perform functional testing. So if you see, right, in Playwright, right, functional testing is also supported with Selenium. But if I need to do visual testing, right, that support is inbuiltly provided in your Playwright. Inbuiltly provided in your Playwright. So if I need to make it simple, I don't want you guys to confuse more. So whenever I need to use Playwright, right, I can use Playwright for performing UI, API, and as well as DB testing. Yeah, under to UI, right, again, I can also perform visual testing and I can also perform functional testing using your Playwright tool. And another important thing here is, so that is the reason that why Playwright is more popular in the market. So if I need to summarize it, right, it is like a Selenium, okay, which is already an old reliable, it is like an old reliable tool, which is present in the market from lot of days. You can simply say it is very old tool, which is already available in the market and which has automated lot of applications where many organizations has used to test their applications using Selenium tool. And if you see, the advanced are nothing but Cypress and as well as the Playwright. Now, if you see, right, Cypress is also faster and the Playwright is also a faster tool, and both supports and both right here, right, it supports only Chrome browser. But here, right, it supports three browsers like Chromium, WebKit, and as well as Firefox. And you may get one doubt, what is Chromium? Chromium is nothing but the backend engine for your Chrome, and WebKit is nothing but for Safari, and Firefox is nothing for your Firefox browser. Is nothing but for your Firefox browser. So you are also able to cover, but yes, Playwright is an open source tool. Playwright is an open source tool in the market. And another important thing here is it was released by Microsoft. It was released by Microsoft and it is an open source tool. Okay, and to understand more advantages, like see, it supports CI/CD, means continuous integration and continuous testing. So if you need to understand that, right, first you need to have some basic knowledge that what is CI/CD architecture that we actually implement in automation testing. Okay, so means that part, right, anyway, we can't cover within an hour or 30 minutes. But anyway, if you compare, right, even though the advantages when you compare with your CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous testing flow, right, Playwright is supportive with your Docker. Playwright is supportive with your Docker. And if you see, right, Selenium is also supportive with your Docker. But when you compare again, the speed of execution, right, the speed of execution is faster when you use Playwright when you compare with your Selenium. See, why I am saying here is, see, in our current organization as well, where we had done POC with the Playwright around a year back, and we have migrated major number of projects already into Playwright. And another important thing here, you need to understand, because if there are any real-time people who are actually working here, right? So see, I will tell you an example. For example, if I'm using Selenium for automating my application, different organizations uses different perspective to automate it. It means there are few organizations which uses JUnit through which they want to use Selenium to automate their application. There are few organizations where they build frameworks using TestNG with Selenium and they do automation. There are few organizations where they actually use Cucumber. There are few organizations where they actually use Serenity, okay, Serenity framework, and with Selenium, and they actually build a framework. And there are few organizations where they actually use JBehave and they actually build their framework. And again, when they are building that particular framework, right, again, the approaches can be different. Again, we have different approaches, like we can approach using modularity, we can develop it using data driven, we can develop it using hybrid, or else we can also develop it using a keyword driven. So it again depends upon their team and their level of technical expertise, that what type of approach that they are going to follow to design their framework, in the same way, right? If I say playwright, right, again it again depends what if I'm going to automate, let us say I want to automate my application and test those functionalities of my application using Playwright. Again, this can be done using unit testing frameworks plus Playwright. Means you can develop a framework using unit testing frameworks which are available in JavaScript, like which are available in JavaScript, like Mocha, just we have some unit testing frameworks, right? Like Mocha, just like you can use these tools through which you can develop a framework to automate your application, or else you can use a predefined frameworks like a robot framework, and you can use Playwright. You can use your Playwright library, or else you can use a robot framework. And you can also use browser library which internally calls Playwright, or else you can directly use only your Playwright framework and you can automate your application. So it again means, see, please don't confuse see, in the market, right? People use a different set of tools to build a framework through which they are actually planning to test the functionalities of your application. It again depends that how your framework was built. But there are few people who actually uses a pure Playwright framework to write their automation cases. There are few teams in the market where they actually use unit testing frameworks like just Mocha with the Playwright library, and they build a framework to test their automation functionalities, to test their application functionalities. And there are few which they actually use a predefined frameworks like Robot, or if you see, right, there are a few predefined frameworks like BDD, where I can also use Playwright, where I can also build my test cases in BDD format using Playwright. It again depends the perspective that how they are going to use this Playwright tool to automate their application and to test their functionalities. Okay, please don't confuse. So to get into these, right, means if I need to build some framework, right, first step here is, as I said, you right, Playwright can be used with multiple Playwright can be used with multiple languages. It can be used with Java, it can be used with Python, it can be used with JavaScript, and it can be used with C Sharp as well. Okay, C Sharp as well. But in the market, right, the most popular is nothing but you need to start learning Playwright with JavaScript. Playwright with JavaScript. So this has max set of openings in the market. Okay, so that is the reason. We are just we I have just I'm just concluding that if you see, right, Playwright with JavaScript is more popular, and you'll get a lot of opportunities if you learn Playwright with JavaScript. JavaScript. So now this is about about the Playwright. Why Playwright is becoming more popular into the market? Why Playwright is becoming more popular in the market? Okay. And if you see here, right, as I said, you right, why more popular means, see, it supports advanced features like you are able to perform UI testing, API testing, visual testing, cross browser testing, and as well as you're also able to majorly, right, it's like means if I need to summarize, right, Playwright supports these types of testing. Like first one is nothing but it supports UI functional testing. It supports UI functional testing. And second one is nothing but it supports visual testing, means where you can compare two screens, and you can identify deviations, what changes are made on the UI. And second one is it is also helpful to perform API, where you can also perform your backend API testing, and where it also helps us to perform DB testing, and the other way is nothing but you can also simulate, you can also do simulation, means You can also run these Playwright tests on your mobile browser, and you can also check that how your application is behaving on mobile browser. What we actually call it as simulations, right? How you simulate the mobile view on your browser, and you are able to run it. It means whenever you open your browser, right, you can also simulate. Means if you want me to give me an example, right? So let us say I had opened a browser. Whenever you open any browser, right, let us say I had opened google.com site, and if I want to see that how this view is visible on a mobile, if you right click and if you click on inspect, here you will have an icon. If you see here, right, here you will have an icon where you can convert your current. This is like browser view. If you click on this icon, right, it changes this into mobile view. Now, based upon your mobile, you can select. Say, for example, here if I want to select, right, I can select how it was displayed in iPhone SE, how it was displayed in iPhone XR, how it has been displayed in Samsung Galaxy. Means I can simulate that mobile view on your browser, and you can run your automation script. So this simulation testing can be also supportive with your Playwright. Is also supportive with your Playwright. So normally, right? So this is how I can simply say that mobile simulation testing is also supported with your Playwright. Okay, it means you are going to convert your browser as a mobile simulator, and you are able to test it, on your mobile view. Okay, so these all are nothing but major testings that are supported with your Playwright. Now you understood, right, that why and what advantages that Playwright has over other tools. Over other tools. Now the next content is nothing but now if I need to use Playwright. Now if I need to use Playwright on my mission. What are the prerequisites that are required? If I need to write some piece of code by using this Playwright, right? What are the prerequisites? What are the prerequisites that are required to install on your machine? So it's very simple. The first one is nothing but you need to have Node.js. Second one is nothing but you need to have VS Code editor. You can use any editor, but normally VS Code editor is very lightweight editor. So I'm suggesting you to use VS Code editor, or else you can use any editor which is supported with Node.js. And then the next part here is nothing but you need to install Playwright. Okay, you need to install Playwright, and then you need to install your Playwright browsers. You need to install your Playwright support to browsers. You need to install your Playwright support to browsers. You need to install your Playwright support to browsers. So these all are nothing but the prerequisites that are required to run your test on your mission. So if I need to install Node.js, how do I install? See, just go to your Google Chrome, and what I'm doing is I have changed this to your just type Node.js free download. You will get a Node.js link. If you click on Node.js link, you will be into this particular page. Here, right, if you see, right, you will have download MSI for your Windows. If you click on this particular link, right, you will get a .msi file downloaded to your machine. Once it got downloaded, right, if you double click onto that particular link, you will get a pop-up where you need to click on next, and install. That is how that you need to install your Node.js onto your machine. It is very simple. How you install a software, right? Simply, you will, whenever you click on this link, right, you will get a .msi file. So let me just show you with some example. So if you see, right, if you click on it, right, it will actually download. Okay, Node.js means Node JavaScript. It is nothing but one version of JavaScript. See, under to JavaScript, right? Again, we have a lot, right? Like AngularJS, Node.js, Angular 2, EXT.js. This is one flavor of your JavaScript, where whenever you are going to work with JavaScript, right, you need Node.js to be installed on your machine. So you need to, first part here is you need to download Node.js, because if you want to write your code using JavaScript, right, you need to download this Node.js. So first you need to browse your Node.js, and you need to install this Node.js by clicking onto this particular MSI file. So once you click onto this particular MSA file, right, you will get, so if you click on it, right, you will get a download. See here, this is how that it will be downloaded. Now, once it got downloaded, right, you need to just go to that specific folder. So if you see here, right, here you will get a folder symbol, or else you can directly open your folder structure and you need to click on downloads. So you can see this is nothing but the node that has been downloaded. So if you double click on it, you will get this screen. You need to click on next, and you need to click on finish. So that will install Node.js on your mission. That will install Node.js on your mission. I already have Node.js. I don't want to again reinstall it. So it is like the first step is you need to click on next, and install, so that it actually installs Node.js onto your mission. So that is your first step. So once you have installed Node.js, now what you need to do here is you need to go and check whether your Node.js has been properly installed. For that, right, you need to open command prompt, and then you need to type here node --- version. So it will show you the current node that is installed on your mission. In my mission, right, I have this version of node that is already installed on my mission. So this is your first prerequisite. So it is very simple. I don't think so that you need more details on how you need to install Node.js. It is like just you need to browse in your Google Chrome and you will get your Node.js link where you need to download this file. And if you double click onto that particular file, right, it will give you a pop-up where you need to click on next, and install. It will be installed. After installation, right, you need to just open your command prompt and you need to type your node node version. So you can see, if you are seeing any version here, means node is successfully installed on your mission. So this is your first prerequisite. Now the second prerequisite is, see, Node.js is nothing but one short of JavaScripting, right? So there may be multiple libraries which are developed using this particular Node.js. If I need to install any library which is developed using Node.js, then I need npm, Node Package Manager. Means, say, if I want to use any library that is developed using Node.js, I need to download that library. If I need to download that library, I need npm. So that you need to check whenever you are downloading Node, right, you will automatically get this npm. That npm means Node Package Manager. Through which you can download any Node.js packages. Means here, if I say packages, means these are nothing but libraries. You can simply say what is a library, means it already has some methods. So these methods you can use in your code. Means I'm downloading it and I'm able to use those methods in my scripting. So those are nothing but what we are actually calling it as. Means people call with different names. We call them as packages, we call them as libraries, we call them as Node.js packages. It means you are downloading a Node.js library to your mission so that you can start using the methods available in that particular library. Okay, you can start using methods which are available in that particular library. So this is your first prerequisite. Now the second prerequisite is you need to download VS Code. So very simple, you need to go to your Google Chrome and you need to type here VS Code free download. Then you will get a link. Okay, download VS Code. Okay, then you will get a link. Then if you click onto that particular link, right, you will get Windows. So you can download any Windows. If you click onto this, right, it will automatically download an MSI file. If you double click and if you click on next, install, right, it will automatically download this VS Code into your mission. See, this is also, you can directly type a free download and you download it, you will get an .msi file. If you double click onto that particular file, you will get a pop-up where you need to click on next. Don't change any options. Click on next, install. That will be installing VS Code onto your mission. These are the two prerequisites that are required. To start writing JavaScript code on your mission. If I want to write some JavaScript code, right, I need Node.js and I need VS Code. So now once these two has been downloaded, what you need to do here is you need to open your VS Code. Just type VS Code, you will get this option. Okay, now just type VS Code, you will get this option. VS Code, you will get this option. So when you click this option, right, if you click on it, it actually opens VS Code on your machine. It actually opens VS Code on your machine. So this is how that your VS Code looks. So this is how that your VS Code looks. Okay, whenever you have downloaded it, right, this is how that you are able to see VS Code. Okay, VS Code, and this is how the first screen will be like welcome screen. You need to close this welcome screen, then you will be into this particular page. Now what I need to do here is my first step here is you need to create a project. First step here is you need to create a project. You need to create a project. Okay, first step here is you need to create a project. So to write some Playwright code, right, what is your first step means? So first step is I have installed Node.js and I have installed VS Code. Now I have opened VS Code. Now I need to install Playwright. But to install Playwright, right, what I need to do here is first go and click on this particular icon. Go and click on this particular icon. Now, if you click on this icon, right, you will get this page. Now, what I need to do here is I need to click on open folder. I will get this open folder. I'm selecting desktop. I'm creating a new folder with name called Playwright Practice. I'm creating a folder with name called Playwright, W-R-I-G-H-T, Playwright Practice, and select that particular folder. Okay, once you create that particular folder, right, select that particular folder. And then it will be opened in your VS editor. Now it will actually open on your VS editor. See, you can see Playwright Practice folder got opened on your VS editor. Now what I need to do here is, now here, right, if you see here, right, now if you see here, right, once you open your VS Code, where is VS Code? Okay, if you open your VS Code, okay, now what I need to do here is, okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting something wrong here. Okay, now I have opened VS Code. Okay, now once I have opened VS Code, right, now what I need to do here is, here you will have an option called terminal. Okay, here you will have an option called, I'm not sure why it is. Okay, here, right, you will get an option. This is nothing but your file explorer. Okay, this is nothing but your file explorer. Okay, so let me just we should also get some options. Let me click on minus. Okay, let me drag this to, I don't know what happened. See, this is how that it will open. So once I have opened this, right, now you need to go to file and you will have an option called open folder. Now I need to open folder with name called practice. And I need to click on select folder. So it actually opens this particular folder in your VS Code. So now I have opened that particular folder. Now what I need to do here is, now if you go here, right, you will have an option called terminal. You will have an option called terminal. So now in this terminal, right, if you click on this terminal, you will get a new terminal. So this is what that you need to open. Now I need to do setup for Playwright. So first, if I need to do setup for Playwright, right? Okay, first, if I need to do setup for Playwright, right? My first step is I need to run a command called npm, means node package manager init -y. Init -y. Anyway, I will give you this as a documentation that what steps you need to follow. So you can follow those steps, but first, whenever you had created a folder, right, means now I'm explaining you that how you need to do Playwright setup on your mission and how you can write a sample code to run it as an automation script, whether it can be an UI script or whether it can be an API script or whether it can be an visualization script. So if I need to do that run, right, first step is I need to open my VS Code and then I need to create a folder and I need to open that particular folder in my VS Code editor. Now, in this VS Code editor, right, my first step is I need to open terminal. Terminal is nothing but, see, normally, right, in Windows, we say command prompt, right? And if I say terminal means it is nothing but the PowerShell terminal. It's normally in Windows, right, you can also run your commands from PowerShell, Windows PowerShell. If I'm opening it as a terminal, right, it means it is actually opening Windows PowerShell in your VS Code, See, normally it again depends upon operating system. See, normally whenever I want to run any commands from command prompt, we actually use command prompt in Windows. We actually use a terminal in Mac and as well as Ubuntu machines. So instead of manually opening command prompt or terminal from your mission, right, the best part here is in your VS Code itself, you open a terminal and you run this particular command. First, you run this particular command npm initiate. Whenever you're running this, right, it will actually give you an error if you're running it on your Windows, because why it gives an error means why it actually gives you an error means because in Windows, right, it will not allow, means there are certain security policies which will not allow you to directly run which will not allow you to directly run your commands of your Node.js on your mission. Then how do we run it? It means first, right, we need to change our security policies of our Windows mission. So how do we change that security policy? How do we change that particular security policy? So if I need to change this particular security policy, right, we need to run a command which will actually changes the security policy of your mission. So whenever you need to change the security policy, right? We have a command. Anyway, I'll give you all these commands in your documentation. But you need to run a command to change your security policy, which will actually allow you to run your scripts. So what is that command means? It is very simple. You need to run this particular command. Sorry, it is copying the same path here. I need to remove. I need to run this particular command. Okay, like I need to change my execution policy of my PowerShell bypass policy. Then only code relevant command this particular terminal. Once you change if you run this, right, now it is still showing some error. It means here I have added a plus symbol, remove it and run it. So now it will actually create a file called package.json. Actually create a file with name package.json under to your project. See, this package.json is like if you have worked with Maven, right? Maven in Java, right? You have a file called pom.xml file, from where you can add all your dependencies or required libraries to your project. In the same way, if I need to add any required node packages to run my script using Playwright, right, I need this package.json. This is like pom.xml file in your Maven project or in your Gradle project, right? You will have an XML file from where you actually control your dependencies or libraries. In the same way, but anyway, if you are a layman, right, the blind rule here is if I need to use Node.js relevant packages into this particular project, the first file I need is this package.json. So if I need this file, right, I need to run this particular command. I need to run this particular command, which is nothing but npm initiate. And if I initiate, right, it automatically creates a file with name called package.json. Package.json. Now, if I want to install, now the next step here is if I want to install, right? Now, if I want to install my Playwright, right? Now I need to run those commands step by step. Now I need to run those commands. So it is like I already prepared a document for it. So if you see here, right, I had already prepared a document how you need to install and what steps that you need to follow. So if you see, right, if I need to install Playwright, right, so first I need to open VS Code and I need to create a folder or directory. Means I need to open some folder or directory. And these are like, if I want to create it from command prompt, right, you can use these commands. But instead of that, right, from UI, you can directly open VS Code and open some folder in that particular VS Code, which will act as your parent directory, And then when you are, when you will get to the security policy issue. So if I need to buy, then you need to run this particular command. Then you need to, so that it will bypass your security policies. Then you can run your node commands from your terminal. Then you can run your node command. You have done with this, right? Now my first step is I need to install Playwright. Now if I need to install Playwright, right, I said you, right, node package manager. If I use this, right, with this I can install my Playwright. If I need to install Playwright, I need to run this particular command. So I need to copy this command and I need to run this particular command in your VS Code. So if you see here, right, here I need to run that particular command in VS Code. So whenever you're running it, right, if you're getting any additional symbols or something, right, you need to remove and you need to run like this. So now it is actually installing a Playwright onto your machine. See, now it will automatically install all the required modules, packages or libraries, and you will get this one, like load node modules, and you will get a package lock.json and a package.json. You will get this hierarchy. It means it has automatically installed Playwright libraries onto your automation script. And if I want to run, right, I need browsers. But if I want to run, can you hear me now? My voice is clear. This is not clear. Can you, or still you are facing the same issue? Now is my voice good to everyone? If yes, please type Y on your chat windows. Is my voice good to everyone? If yes, please type Y on your chat windows. Okay. Okay, thank you. So if you see here, right, now the second criteria that what we are going to achieve here is, it's like I say, now you got some understanding on Playwright. So what we are going to do here is we are going to write some sample Playwright script. Now the second part is nothing but we are going to write some sample Playwright script. If I need to write some sample Playwright script, right, first thing is I need to do that setup. I need to do that setup on my machine, and then only I can write some sample script and I can show you that how you can execute it. So if I need to do that setup, right, my first part is I need to have Node.js, and second part is I need to have VS Code, and then you need to create a folder and open that particular folder in VS Code. Now, once you had opened VS Code, once you had opened that folder in VS Code, right, now you need to open terminal. And then you need to run command called, npm init -y. So this is going to create a file called package.json. Means whenever you run this particular command, right, it actually creates a file with name called package.json. So what is this package.json? This package.json is nothing but like in your Maven project, right, how you add Java libraries to your Java project using your pom.xml file, right? In the same way, if I need to add node libraries to my project, I need to have this particular file, which is nothing but what we actually call it as package.json. Now, once you have done with this, right, now the next command here is I need to install Playwright. If I need to install Playwright, right, I need to run this particular command. I need to run this particular command. So this is the command that what you actually run to install Playwright. So if I want to install Playwright, right, this is the command that what I am using to run or to install Playwright on my machine. So now once it got installed, now I need to install browsers. So what I need to do here is I have a command to install browsers. So now I have installed Playwright. Now I need to install all the browsers which are required to run my Playwright script. For that, right, I need to run this command npx playwright install. So what I need to do here is I need to go to terminal and I need to paste it and I need to simply run this particular command and press enter. So it will automatically download all the required browsers. It will automatically download all the required browsers to run my script. Now this is your setup. And so this is how that we actually do setup. So this is how that what we actually need to run our Playwright script. So this is what that we actually required to run our Playwright script. Is this part clear? Now once this has been done, right, what is your next step? Now if I need to write some Playwright test, now if I want to write some Playwright test, now what I need to do here is, see, means now if I want to write some Playwright test, you just create a folder, okay, or else you just create a folder and you name that particular folder as test UI, okay, UI, and press enter. And whenever you are creating that particular folder, right, you need to create that particular folder in your Playwright path only. So that I had created that particular folder here. Now, if I need to write any Playwright test, I need to create a file. Let us say I want to create a file with name called example.spec.js. Whenever you are going to write any test case, right, you need to create that file. You can give that file name. You can give that particular test name. You need to write spec.js. So this is how that you need to create a file by creating a folder. It means this file is representing as a test case. This file represents a test case. Now let us say I want to write a test under to it. So very simple. First step here is I need to import. What I need to import? I need to import two. One is nothing but I need to import test and I need to import expect. So this is for your validation, and first one is for your this one. But no, it is for indicating it as a test, and second one is for your validation. And then right, I want to import these two from Playwright. So what I am doing here is I am saying Playwright. I want to import this from Playwright so that I'm writing the Playwright test. I'm writing this should be imported from Playwright test. So now I need to create a test. How do we create a test? You need to write a test and I need to specify what is my test name. Let us say I'm simply saying Google is nothing but my test name. So I'm writing it as Google test. And here, right, I should specify that what it is an async. Why I need to write async means there are a few actions that should be performed by waiting for certain time to load that particular page on your machine. So that is the reason you need to write like this. And here write as I said you write means these are like asynchronous functions. So anyway, why we need to write in this particular format? but why we need to pass these two as parameters, and why we are going to write these asynchronous functions, right? All these, right, in detail we will actually go through in our actual sessions. But as of now, right, just to try to understand the syntax, it is like whenever you are going to write a test, right, that the test should start with the test, and it should you should create an asynchronous function. You should create an asynchronous function. It means like, see, I need to start that function here and end that particular function. And when I am ending this, right, I should also close that with a circle brace and a column. I should also close that with a circle brace and a column. So this is how that you are going to write. Whenever I need to write another test, right, I can copy this and I can write another test like this. And this is like test case 2. This is like test case 1. So this is how that I can create multiple tests. But whenever I need to write a test, right, the format is like this. I need to mention that particular test name and I need to create an asynchronous function call. So if you see, right, my first step is I need to open google.com site. For that, right, I have a method called await, means I have await and I have page, which is nothing but object, where I have a method called go to. And here, if I write what URL I want to open, I need to write it. It means if you see here, right, for example, if I want to open google.com site, now what I need to do here is I need to simply write google.com site, and this URL I need to copy and I need to go back to my script, and I need to add that particular google.com here. I need to add google.com here. Now once I got that particular google.com, right, now I need to write constant, means I want to capture title of that particular page, so that I'm simply saying await page dot title. Okay, page dot title. So this is the command through which you are going to capture title. Now once I got that particular title, right, I want to print that particular title, so that I'm simply saying console.log, how you actually use the print statement, right? In the same way, I want to print the page title onto my console. So this is how that I'm going to write, and I'm going to write a title. I'm going to print that particular title. Now once I got that particular title printed, I want to quickly check whether that title, I want to check using expect. Expect is used for validation. So I'm simply saying a page. That page should have title. That page should have title. That page should have that page should have title, T-I-T-L-E, title, T-I-T-L-E, title, and that title should be, it should contain Google. I'm simply writing it should contain Google. So this is the second step where I'm going to verify whether that particular page have this particular title or not. Have this particular title or not. This is like a small test. See, but normally, right, see, if I need to summarize it, right, this is like I just want to show you by writing a small test in Playwright. But normally, whenever you see any automation tool, okay, any automation tool, right, whether it can be Selenium, okay, I'll tell you, means, if I need to make it simple, right, whether it can be Selenium or whether it can be Playwright, okay, whether it can be Cypress, any automation tool in the market, right? If I need to learn it right, we need to first learn the types of methods, that are available. Like there are few methods where you can perform actions on browser. So we need to learn what browser methods are available in that particular library. And there are some methods through which you can perform navigations. Like how do you go to your previous screen? So you need to learn about navigation methods. And then you need to locate an element, and then you need to perform action on it. So that you need to learn what are the locatable methods through which you can locate that particular element on your application. And then you need to understand how you are going to perform action. So you need to learn element action methods in that particular library. And then you need to understand how do you capture data. So you need to understand what are capturing data methods available in that particular library. And then you need to capture data and you need to perform validations. Means you need to compare your expected value with your actual value. So you need to learn this validation methods, how you are going to compare your expected value with the actual value and making it as pass or fail, and updating it as pass or fail. So if you see here, right, after validations, right, you should also learn how you are going to maintain synchronization. So for that, right, you need to learn the synchronization methods. So whenever you're going to learn any tool, right, first you need to learn what methods are available to perform or to understand these actions, that what you actually perform on your application, So anyway, with this short time, right, we can't cover all these methods. But what just for your understanding, right, I have just written one small script. If I need to open any URL, I have a method called go to, and if I need to capture title, I have a method called title. And if I want to print, instead of using in Java, right, we write system.out.println. In the same way, if I want to print something, I will use console.log. And if I want to do my validations, I will use expect, and I will check whether the title is Google or not, whether that particular title is Google or not. So this is how, means what I am going to create a script. Means if you learn those methods, right, then you can write a script. Yeah, the flow of your test, and you are going to open, then you are going to perform action, and then you are going to validate. So whenever you are going to test something, right, first step is you'll open application, and then you'll perform some actions, and then you'll validate whether your result is as expected or not. If it is as expected, you will pass it. If it is not as expected, you will fail it. So that is what that we do as part of testing, right? The same will be converted as in test script. The same will be converted as in test script. And if I am going to convert that particular test script, right, again, if I need to convert, you can use multiple. Like you can use Selenium, you can use Playwright, you can use Cypress. So here I had used Playwright and I had converted that manual test as in script using a JavaScript and as well as Playwright library. Now, once this has been done, right, now if I want to run that particular test, then I need to run. So if I want to run that particular test, then how I need to run? I need to run using npm test. I need to run that particular test using npm test. So how do we run that particular test? It is very simple. We need to use npm. We need to use npm, and you need to write Playwright, 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 and you need to write a test, and you should also specify from which folder you want to run it. I want to run it from UI. So if I don't give this folder, right, it will run all the test cases which are present under to this particular project. But if I give this folder, right, it will run only the test which is available. It will run only the test which is available. What it is, to see the list of supportive commands. Okay, to see the list of supportive commands, I think so I am missing a run. Okay, if I need to run it, right, I need to use a command through which you can actually run your test case. So if I want to run Playwright test, okay, if I need to run Playwright test, okay, so then I need to use a command called npm. Okay, so it is not npm, it is npx. So let me just correct it. So it is like npx. Okay, and then I need to run that particular file. So I need to write Playwright. So I want to run it as a Playwright, Playwright Playwright test. And if I run this, right, it will run all the test cases under to my project. But if I want to run only the tests which are present under to this particular folder, then I need to write test UI. So it will actually run that particular test case. And it is showing here, it is actually running that particular test case, and it got failed. Where it got failed? Because the title is not Google. But if you see, right, whenever you're running your test, right, in Playwright, that test can be executed in two ways. It can be executed in headless mode, or it can be executed in headed mode. It means it can be executed without opening your browser, or it can be executed by opening your browser. So if I want to run my test case by opening my browser, then what I need to do here is, I need to put it as headed. Then if you see here, right, it will actually open your Chrome browser, and then it will actually open your google.com site, and it is running it. but still, right, it is showing that it got failed. Still showing that it is showing that it got failed, but it is still showing that it got failed. Why it got failed? Why it got failed? Because the title of that particular page is not matching. Because see, whenever I open google.com site, right, whenever you open google.com site, right, so if you see the title, what is the title of this particular page? If you see here, what was the title? So the title is nothing but G is capital. So you need to make sure whenever you're checking, right, the title should be capital J. Now again rerun it. Now again, if you go and if you run it, right, so it will actually run that particular test and you are able to see, and now it is showing that it got to have title, which is nothing but Google. We have title, which is nothing but Google. And here, right, if you see, right, what is the title? It is showing Google. So I need to put this should have title called Google. Save it. And there is something, it is showing it as wrong, where I am showing it as await expect page. Await expect page to have title, where I am going to check for this particular title, where I am going to check for this particular title. So let me again rerun it. So save it and again rerun it. npx in headed mode. I want to rerun it. So it got executed and it is showing, means it is like see why you are getting error here means it is like if I use await, right, it should automatically wait till that particular page is getting loaded, so why you are getting this error means you need to increase your time to make sure that your script is waiting for certain time, so that it will actually check whether the title is same or not, whether that particular title is same or not. So let me just open. Okay, so let me just open, or else let me just check by adding slash here, or by adding slash here. Okay, see, inbuilt it has some default time. It means say the Playwright supports inbuilt synchronization, but it has a default time of 30 seconds. Okay? If it is taking more than 30 seconds, right, then you need to increase that time based upon your requirement. You need to increase that time based upon your requirement. So here, right, if you see here, right, if I need to check for that particular title, right, you need to check whether it has that Google title or not. So for that, right, what I am doing here is I am just giving here await, right. So I am just giving here await, right. So I need to check how to set. I need to check. I need to know what increase my time. I need to set increase my time. Sorry, someone is asking something. What it is? What is wait is inbuilt in Playwright? Yes, see, wait is inbuilt in Playwright. It means it has a default wait time of 30 seconds. If that element or that page got loaded within 30 seconds, right, it will automatically handle it. If it is taking more than that, right, then you need to increase that wait time by adding that configuration under to package.config.js. Okay, anyway, means as of now, right, I have not created that particular file, right, so I don't want you guys to confuse. And expect is misplaced with yes, it was correct. Expect is misplaced with this is wrong, right? Here it should be corrected. EXPECT. Okay, expect. Okay, EXPECT. Now I am going to check whether this was whether you are getting this particular title or not. Now again let me run it. In headed mode. Now it is actually opening your browser and then it is running and it is checking. Now what happened? Now it is showing that it got passed. Now it is showing that it got passed. So previously, right, it is used to fail at this await means that is due to this particular expect, which was not properly imported, at your first line, because there I had written spelling mistake. So thank you for identifying it. So that is how, means it is like a sample script. It is like a sample script. Now one more challenge here is, now you may get one doubt. What you know, sir? What you know? Why? How you are saying that? What if you use Playwright, right? We can speed up your design. What I'll say here also, we need to write our test steps, and in the same way that how you do it in your Selenium, only execution wise it is faster. Then how you are saying that we can quickly learn this Playwright, because see normally right means here if I need to put it in a simplest way, right? See normally, let us say I am planning to use Playwright for our automation testing. So whenever I want to use the Playwright, right, I need to build some framework using this particular Playwright, and that framework, right, I can build it using any unit testing framework, which are available in JavaScript like Mocha or Just, or else I can use a pure Playwright, hierarchy through which I can build some test cases. Okay, or else I can use some predefined frameworks like a robot framework or something, and I can quickly develop a framework which actually supports UI, visual, API, and as well as DB testing, Now, if I need to build this right, see first point, whenever you are going to learn this particular Playwright, right? See first, right, you need to learn a language, right? And Playwright is supported with multiple languages. But here, right, we need to ensure that we are learning with JavaScript. So first, right, you need to learn JavaScript basics, and then you need to learn your Playwright methods. And then once you have learned with your Playwright methods, right, then we need to understand if I need to build the same tests using some unit testing frameworks, how we can build tests using this unit testing frameworks under to Playwright. And then you need to understand how you are going to use methods to do API, how you are going to use those methods to do API, how you are going to use these methods to perform DB, and how you are going to use these methods to perform visual testing. How you are going to use these methods to perform visual testing. And see, the features are like, means we have a lot of features, like you can run it in headless mode, you can run it in headed mode, you can run them in parallel, you can generate HTML reports. And whenever you are generating HTML reports, right, again, those reports you can generate in multiple formats. You can generate default Playwright HTML reports, or else you can generate a detailed HTML report, or else you can also generate using third-party libraries like Alluri libraries or Playwright HTML report libraries, to which you can also generate detailed HTML reports with three-layer analysis. Like you can generate a report where it generates a report at your total execution level, suite level, test level, step level, and why it got failed, so that it easily helps us to identify the root cause analysis for that particular failure. And then right here, right, you need to understand how, means if you are going to see, right, if you are going to learn and to be master in your Playwright, right, this is the roadmap that how you need to learn. You need to learn first JavaScript, then the Playwright methods, then you need to check how you are going to use those methods to achieve these types of testings, and then you need to check that how you are going to run these Playwright tests on some remote missions. For that, right, you need to understand how you integrate that with Jenkins, how you are going to run it from your Docker, how you are going to run your Playwright scripts from Docker. And whenever I want to perform this as a remote execution, right, you need to store that code in GitHub or Bitbucket. So you need to have understanding that how you are able to store that code in your Bitbucket. So this is your basic setup, that what you need to learn as part of your Playwright. You may get one doubt, sir, you are saying that we need to learn all this. Then how you are saying that Playwright is very easy tool through, you can speedily learn it. It means, so we are also going to use some UAA tools through which you can speed up your design, which is nothing but what we are actually calling it as a scripting. So for that, right, we have some tools like a cursor. or else you can use or else you can also use you can also build you can also build some agentic frameworks which will automatically generate scripting in playwright in playwright for the provided test case steps for the provided test case, or else you can simply say for the provided test cases. Means you can also build an agentic solution where if you had written code, if you had built this agentic framework only once, right? Whenever you give the list of test cases, right, it will automatically generate playwright code and place that in your project. So you can directly run it, and then if you see any failures, right, then you need to fix it. So to fix that failures, right, you need these basics. To fix that particular failure, right, you need these basics. But how we need to use JavaScripting, how you need to use Playwright, how you need to use unit testing framework, how you need to use GitHub, remote machine execution, Jenkins, Docker. And we also have other capabilities like parallel execution, running and checking on different browsers like cross-browser testing. We say, right, cross-browser testing. Okay, cross-browser testing, how you are going to perform parallel. Okay, how you are going to perform parallel, and with these examples, right, you will easily understand that why we are saying that the Playwright is very faster when you compare with your execution with your Selenium and as well as Cypress. So if you see here, right, it means as of now, right, even though if I ask you to, even though, right, without telling you the basics, right, even though if I help you to understand, right, see, this is like I just want to show you a sample prototype that how you actually write a test in Playwright. And I want to quickly tell you that how you can easily set up your Playwright framework. Because see, when you run these three commands, right? Like one is like init, and second one is like Playwright test to install Playwright, and Playwright init to install your browsers. If you run these three commands, right, it means you are almost done with your completed Playwright framework setup. Now you need to create a specific folder, and under to that, right, you can write your test cases. And whenever you are going to write your test cases, if I need to make it as a suite, then I may need to use some unit testing frameworks through which I can prepare some group of test cases as a suite under to a single file. Anyway, I don't want you guys to confuse more. So if you see here, right, means the majorly, right, this workshop, right, we have majorly concentrated on that to explain you the advantages of your Playwright and to do that setup on your machine. And then the next one is nothing but I just want to show you by writing a sample test script. To understand that how we are going to use these methods. Okay, and then I just want to show you that how you are going to run it from your terminal in a headless mode and as well as in headed mode. And whatever the code that I have written, right, as part of your small code snippet, right, whatever the methods that I had used, right, I just want to do a walkthrough on those methods so that you can understand this particular basic scripting. And the next one here is, see, if I need to speed up this Playwright scripting, right, means let us assume that I'm a layman, I don't know any methods here. But still, I want to speedily generate an automation script for all the cases that I have. For that, right, I can use some AI editors. Instead of VS Code, right, I need to use the cursor editor. So if you use that editor, right, it will automatically generate the code based upon your test case steps. So this code, right, it is not required. It will automatically write. Only the thing here is you need to understand how you need to debug it, and you need to have basic knowledge on those methods to quickly fix failures if they are if you see anything when you're running that particular script. Okay, and then right, we are already running out of time. Okay, so anyway, so now you got some understanding, right, about your Playwright setup, and as well as yes, Arun, AI will generate. For that, right, we need to write a little bit code as a framework. See, it means for that, right, again, in the market, right, we have some predefined frameworks through which you can generate an agentic AI solution. See, people say agentic AI, right? So if I need to develop agentic AI solution, right, for my automation, which actually generates code for my Playwright, right? For that, right, we have some frameworks like crew.ai and LangGraph, and as well as PyData. So we have some predefined frameworks in the market. You can download these frameworks and you can build an agentic AI solution which automatically generates your automation script based upon the manual test steps. So anyway, yeah, I'm not sure whether you guys are getting me on these frameworks, but we have these frameworks in that, right? For your automation perspective, the best framework you can use to generate an agentic AI solution is the crew.ai. Crew.ai. So anyway, I don't want to get into those details because many people will confuse if I start using those terms. Start using those terms. Okay. So this is about your basic understanding. Means I just want to explain you a basic setup that how you are going to do a basic setup using Playwright and how you are able to write a UI case. And as well as in the similar way, right, we'll also use methods from Axios library, and we can also build an API test. And you can use the same Playwright library methods, and you can also implement visual testing where you can compare two images and you can identify what are deviated in that particular two images. So majorly, right, in the market, right, Playwright is majorly used for these three. Like one is like majorly we use it for UI automation, second one is for visual testing, and third one is for API testing. And why we use this? Because it is very faster when we compare with other tools. You may get one doubt. So we already have a tool called Cypress, which is also supported with JavaScript, and we also have a tool called Playwright, which is also supported with JavaScript. Then why should I use only Playwright? Why can't I use Cypress? Because Cypress is supported with only one browser, but Playwright has support for multiple browsers. And second one here is Cypress, right? It has its own engine. You can't perform remote execution. It is only for small projects. But for example, if you use Playwright, right, you can perform remote executions using Docker, and it can be integrated to Kubernetes to auto scale your test cases. To auto scale your test cases. Anyway, I don't want to get into those details because I'm not sure whether you people are getting me that what for we will use Docker, what for you will use Kubernetes. So that part, right, we'll actually means as part of our basic flow to advanced, right, to design AI relevant framework and how we are going to use agentic AI frameworks to auto generate script using any tool, right? All those will be covered as part of our regular sessions. So this is like a startup session where I want you guys to give you a high level view that whenever you are going to learn a tool, right, like Playwright, right, first you need to learn about the Playwright, and then you need to understand. Means I had already given you, right. So here I had given you the perspective, right, what you need to learn as part of Playwright. So if you see, right, as part of Playwright, right, if you want to learn Playwright, so first one is you need to learn on Playwright framework, and then you need to first learn JavaScript, and then you need to learn Playwright methods, and then you need to learn how you need to use Playwright to automate UI, API, DB, and visual. And then you need to learn how you are going to store that code in GitHub or Bitbucket. And then you need to learn how you are going to perform remote execution using Jenkins and Docker, and how you are going to perform cross-browser testing, and how you are going to perform parallel execution. So under to these methods, right, again, as I had listed, right, we have different types of methods. So we are going to cover all these methods in our regular sessions. And if you want to get a little bit understanding on JavaScript, right, we have a few sessions that are getting started from tomorrow. So you guys can start attending those sessions, and it was scheduled from morning 7:30 to morning 7:30 every day, right? It has been scheduled at morning 7:30 for 1.5 hours. If anyone is interested, right, you can also reach your respective coordinators and get the details on those, get the meeting details to attend those sessions. So if you are good, right? I think so. I mean, so any questions or any doubts you have on the current session that what we have drived, team, people who are in online. If you have any questions or any doubts, you can ask me in your chat window so that I can help you with that info as well. See, if I need to make it simple, right? As of now, right? What the market expectation has been also changed. So it means, let me just tell you. So it means, even though if you are a tester, right? If you are a tester, right? It means currently, right? We are calling them as principals, or we are calling them as SDETs. So if I say principal or an SDET, right? It means you are responsible for performing end-to-end testing. You are responsible for performing end-to-end testing. If I say end-to-end testing means you should be good in testing from UI, API, DB, and as well as performance, majorly these attributes. And if I need to implement this end-to-end testing, right, then I should learn the tools that are required to perform this testing. And as well as I should also use AI, AI tools to speed up, okay, to speed up my test script design, to speed up my test script design. And this is your first phase, means you need to use some AI tools through which you can speed up your test design. And if I need to develop it as a flow, then I need to use agentic AI frameworks through which agentic AI frameworks through which you need to build testing flow. Like for example, I means as an input, right? I'm going to give my manual test cases. I'm going to give my manual test cases. Now, based upon this manual test cases, right, it should automatically generate. It should automatically generate automation script with language and tool selected. It means I need to develop a framework where it should automatically generate. It should automatically generate. Okay, generate RAT. Okay, it should automatically generate the automation scripts. Okay, it should automatically generate the automation scripts, and these automation scripts should be automatically executed. Whatever the generated scripts, right, it should be executed, and if and it should generate a report for it. Now we should also write the agentic flow such a way that the failures should be analyzed. The failure should be analyzed by AI, and it should auto fix them, and it should auto fix them and rerun. So this flow, right, if I'm going to develop this complete flow, right, I can't do it with a single AI tool. For that, right, I need to create an agentic AI framework through which I'm able to do this end-to-end process. So currently, right, this is what the latest implementation in your automation testing. This is what the latest implementation in your automation testing. So how do you find? See, it's very simple. Locator means it is nothing but a unique value through which you are going to locate element on your application. Okay, so if I need to identify locators, right, every tool has its perspective to locate it. So normally, right, whenever I want to locate an element, right, we normally use the backend HTML code of that particular page to locate it. So from that page, right, we may capture attributes, we may capture text, we may capture XPath, we may capture CSS values through which we can locate it. But Playwright has some advanced methods through which it is not required that you need to actually write those values by following a specific format to locate it. So it has some predefined methods. So if you use those methods, right, it will help you to simplify your locator value through which it locates. So Playwright has an advanced mechanism to locate as an elements by the methods that has been provided under to Playwright. And the next question is like, as per market, right, JavaScript with Playwright is more popular, and you will see in your upcoming next 6 months, right, you will see major number of opportunities only with Playwright with JavaScript. Okay, there are few projects where you may also see with Playwright with Python, but if you compare with Python, Java, and C#, right, you will see major number of opportunities with JavaScript with Playwright. And then the next part here is, next question here is Python or Java with Playwright or JS. With Playwright, one is the most popular in the market. Playwright with JavaScript. See, Playwright, you will also see Playwright with TypeScript, but it is always better to learn Playwright with JavaScript because TypeScript is like a wrapper on JavaScript. If you learn JavaScript, right, you will also know how you need to use the TypeScript. It is not required. Again, you need to learn separately TypeScript. What will be the course content and duration? See, you will get those details. You can reach your coordinators. They will send you the detailed list that what we actually drive as part of this particular course. But at a high level, right, I had already explained. So first we are going to go through all the JavaScript basics. Means the basic JavaScripting. That if I need to write some code using JavaScript, right, what things are required, right? We'll cover everything as part of your JavaScript. And then we will start with the Playwright, means what methods that are available, which are given under to Playwright, through which you can perform UI, API, DB, and as well as visual testing. And then we are going to see how you are going to place your code into GitHub. So we are going to learn Git and as well as Bitbucket. So if you use Git commands, right, you can interact with any repository where it actually uses Git as your background. And remote execution. See, normally, right, in real practice, we don't execute our test cases in local. We normally perform that execution in remote. But if I want to perform that executions in remote, right, when you use Selenium, right, they actually use some CI tools like Jenkins, Bamboo, Go.cd, and they actually trigger those test cases on some remote machines like AWS or Azure. But if you see here, right, if I use Playwright, right, I can simply create it as a Docker image and I can deploy that image in any mission and I can perform my remote execution. So if I need to auto scale my executions, then I will use Kubernetes as well to auto scale my executions. So for that, right, as a tester, right, you should have basic knowledge that how you can schedule it from Jenkins and how you can prepare image and deploy it and run it as part of your Docker. And then we'll also see cross-browser testing is nothing but a default feature of your Playwright. Whenever you're running it, right, it actually performs cross-browser testing. But still, right, I have just highlighted to show you that it supports cross-browser parallel execution. So majorly, right, your main target, if you see, right, major modules are nothing but you need to learn majorly on Playwright, and then we will see some AI tools which actually helps you to auto-generate scripts, auto-generate your script, and then we will also see an agentic AI solution through which you can build a flow in your automation scripting. Here, right, I'll tell you that how you will use crew.ai, through which you can build your agentic AI flow to your automation testing. So this would be the high level content. What we discuss under to each and everything, right, like JavaScript, Playwright, unit testing frameworks, or Git, everything, right? If you want the detailed content, that it will be shared by your respective coordinator who is coordinating you. Okay, Playwright with Java. See, it is also useful, but if you compare, right, see, normally your applications, right, see, whenever you're trying to access any application on your browser, right, you will see the backend HTML code and where you will see JavaScript is injected into it to perform certain actions. So it means if I write my code using JavaScript, right, when you compare with other languages, right, JavaScript will be faster on your browser because your browsers that what we use, like whether it can be a Chromium, WebKit, or it can be an Firefox browser, right, they are also developed in JavaScript. So normally, right, it is always better to choose JavaScript through which you can automate your application functionalities to test it on your browser. Because see, it's like, see, if you learn JavaScript, right, it means in future, right, if I ask you to use it with Java, if I ask it to use it with TypeScript, or if I ask you to use it with any other, right, it is very much easier when you compare with your JavaScript. So my suggestion here is you should learn it with JavaScript. And second thing, right, see, it's not like that. It means why I am suggesting you with JavaScript is, see, what market is expecting that we need to learn. Okay, if market is expecting and if market has positions with Playwright with JavaScript, right, then we should automatically learn Playwright with JavaScript. And whenever if you see, right, see, there may be few projects where they may asking you on TypeScript, but see, TypeScript is nothing but it is a wrapper on your JavaScript. If you know JavaScript, right, you can answer any questions which they are asking you in TypeScript. So always it would be better if you learn JavaScript. So you can cover both. You can answer in TypeScript, or else you can also answer it using your JavaScript. Any other questions, team? People who are in online, offline? See, see, we have a detailed demo tomorrow. Not tomorrow. It is on Monday, 14th. Okay, where I will give you a quick walkthrough what we actually drive as part of that particular course in detail, means all the subcomponents, like what we are going to learn. As of now, I had given you a high level list, right, like JavaScript, Playwright methods, unit testing. Now, we have a detailed demo on 14th, so you guys can attend to get an understanding on it, that what we need to learn and how you can speed up. So I will list in that demo that what are the subcomponents that we are going to discuss under to each and every component. What we learn under to JavaScript, what we learn under to Playwright, what we learn under to UI automation, API automation, DB automation, visual testing, and what we learn under to Git, what is remote execution, how remote executions are performed. See, normally here if I say remote execution means here you need to learn how you are going to implement CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous testing. See, very simple. If you ask me, right, see, any application when you're accessing through your browser, if you're able to see backend HTML code of it, you can automate that application. See, Sridhar, I mean, if I need to make it simple, right, instead of asking, can we automate Pega applications, can we automate SalesForce applications, can we automate SAP applications, right? The blind rule here is whenever you're planning to automate any application from UI, if you are able to see backend HTML code of it, means whenever you open any application on your browser, right? So for example, I had opened an application on my browser. If I right click and if I'm able to see this backend HTML code of it, right? If you're able to see this backend HTML code, it means you can automate those applications using Selenium and Playwright. Means you can perform automation testing from UI. If you are not able to see this backend HTML code, then you can't perform functional testing from UI using any UI tools. Any UI tools. Is this part clear? Bhavana, can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. Any other questions, team? So anyway, we are running late. So if you want the detailed content or detailed, the roadmap that what we need to learn as part of Playwright, right? Please make sure, please ensure, or please try to attend the demo session which was scheduled on 14th, which is on Monday, the coming Monday at morning 7:30, I think. That timings part, right? I think so. It has been scheduled at 7:30. So please reach your respective coordinators. They can help you with more details on it. Okay. Any other questions, team? See, it will be for 50 hours. 50 hours. Okay, every day 1.5 hour. I mean, this complete course content, right, which I have listed, right, it will be for 50 hours. So every day, if you do it for 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes, right? So it will be scheduled for 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. Any other questions, team? So if guys are good, right, then I think so we can wind up the session for today. And if there is anything that you need in detail, right, we will connect back on Monday, which is nothing but 14th at 7:30 a.m. When you say we have agentic AI, already a framework is built. See, it's like, see, people say framework, right? Framework means there is a structure which is defined. You need to follow the structure and you need to design some solution. So if I need to provide an agentic AI solution, right, I already have some predefined frameworks. If you use those frameworks, right, you can speedily design solution which you are looking to build it in your automation. It's like a tool. See, for example, if you ask me, right, let us say I want to tap a nail into a wall, right? If I can also hit a nail with my hand as well, and I can also hit nail with a hammer as well. It's like this agentic AI frameworks are like a tool through which it actually speeds up your design. You guys are getting me right, Sridhar? Excuse me. You guys getting me right? Like you have a lot of agentic AI frameworks in the market. If you use those frameworks, right, you can design an agentic AI solution. It is not only in automation, even though you're a developer, SRE, or a tester, or a product analyst, right? You can design an agentic AI solution using those frameworks. So in our current session, right, I'll show you that how we are able to build an automation solution using this agentic AI approach frameworks. Any other question? See, anyway, these classes are tended for a layman. So even though if you don't have any knowledge in testing, right, but still we actually drive it from very basics, so you are able to understand it. So it is always better, instead of I am saying it, right, if you attend for 1 or 2 days of my session, right, you will easily understand that whether you are able to catch up with the learning that what I go through for a layman. Any other questions? Still very few on Playwright. Is it good to go? See, it's very simple. Nowadays, right, please don't stick to any specific tool. See, normally, right, we say whenever you're going to learn any specific tool, right, first you need to learn the principles of that particular tool. See, for example, if you're learning automation, right, as part of your automation testing, right, majorly in real practice, right, we do it for UI, API, DB, and as well as visual, and as well as we majorly check for performance of that particular application. So you need to understand whatever the tool that you're using to use it as part of that particular testing, right? You need to understand the principles. The principles will be common, whatever the tool you use. Even if you use Selenium, Playwright, Cypress, the basic principles that what you use to automate an application, like locating, action, capturing data, validations, all these remains the same. So you need to understand the core principles through which you are able to automate your application. If you are able to catch those principles, right, you can use any tool. See, only the thing here is whatever the language that you use, right, only the syntax will be different. But if you know the principles, right, you can easily use any tool based upon your requirement or based upon what you are actually getting positions in the market. See, that is what means. If you go to any interview, right, if they are expecting multiple tools or multiple technologies, right, it means they are checking your principles. Means it's like whether you have good knowledge on your principles to use those automation tools. If you are good with the core principles which you can implement as part of your UI, API, or DB automation, right, then automatically people will hire you because they are not bothered about what tools that you know. They are majorly bothered about the maturity level to use those tools, and whether you are good with the common principles which are common across multiple tools to do your automation testing. See, DB testing means is very simple. Many people are in a confusion. If I say DB testing means, see, normally in real practice, right, whenever you are going to test anything from DB, right, there are again two categories. One is nothing but what we actually call it as core DB testing, where we actually test the internal schemas or the procedures or the architecture that has been created as part of DB. That will be done purely by your DB testers. But we as a testers, right, we are responsible for UI interactive DB testing. It's like you are going to perform some actions on the UI, and you will go and you will query that DB, and you are going to check whether those data is reflecting in your backend DB or not. So that is how that people check as part of your DB testing. Okay, and next question is having 17 years in QA, I'm failing out to crack opportunity. Looking learn automation and looking for SAP and other consultant areas. See, means my suggestion here is Sridhar. see, I agree that you have already 17 years of experience in QA. So you would have already have expertise in your basic QA principles, which we actually use as part of your methodologies or types of testing that you do as part of your practice. Now, my suggestion is instead of switching to any separate framework, right? Try to upskill yourself in using these AI or agentic AI tools through which you can build an end-to-end automation solutions for your testing. See, the market, right, the currently, right, they are not looking for how many years of experience you have and how many tools you know, and as well as what specializations or what technologies you are aware of. They are thinking of, let us say, if you consider testing as an end-to-end process, right, they are majorly looking at how you are able to build an end-to-end solution using these AI tools. Means if I say AI, right, I'm not sure whether, see, we have 3 levels, right? We have generative AI, we have agentic AI. Now the latest is MCP, Model Context Protocol. Okay, now the currently, the the newest implementation in AI is the MCP, Model Context Protocol. Okay, so if you see here, right, you need to concentrate more on such tools, that how you can use AI tools to speed up your QA testing process, or else you need to identify some frameworks through which you can build end-to-end testing frameworks without any manual intervention, like using some frameworks of agentic AI, or else if there is any intercommunication between multiple agents based on a context, then you need to choose model context protocol sort of supportive framework through which you can build that end-to-end testing frameworks without any manual intervention. If you try to achieve these, if you are able to get into these lines, right, I don't think so that you need to completely switch from your testing to any other domains. You got me right, Sridhar? See nowadays, right, there is no technology without AI. Even though if I say Playwright, right, we are also going to see that how we are going to use the AI tools, agentic AI, and what is model context protocol. And recently, right, Google, it is a week, they have also announced agent to agent communication. Okay, so whatever the latest agentic solutions that what we can build in our automation testing, right, we are going to cover that as part of our course. But that is but first you need to understand basics. Then only you will understand that how you can build those solutions. Okay. Any other? I am a manual tester. Now I want to switch to testing career into automation. See, manual testing, automation testing, right? I'm not sure. See, there may be few organizations where you see such roles, but as of now, if I say tester means you should work as a principal or SDET. If I say SDET or principal means you should have expertise in both manual and as well as automation. That is basic industry expectation from last 5 years. Okay, now they are also adding AI into your testing. That is your expectation. So if you are a manual tester, right, it is always better to quickly upskill towards your automation, because if nowadays, right, if people say testing means it is not manual, it is both manual and automation. Any other questions? Team, people who are in online, offline. So if you are good, right, we can wind up. Anyway, we have a demo on 14th, which is nothing but coming Monday. I'll also give you the detailed content that what we drive as part of this particular course. If you have any additional questions, right, you can come up and you can also ask me. I will be always open to answer such questions and help you with the latest tech stack that what we use as part of our automation testing. If you are good, right, thank you guys and happy weekend.